Welcome to the late night
Hi.
Hearth.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Howdy.
Jesus Christ, Brandon.
Okay, so we're gonna quickly introduce ourselves, and then we'll get going here in just a second. Ian, our returning guest.
Questionably.
Say hello.
Yeah.
Ian.
Hello.
Dan.
Hello there.
Ryan.
Hello.
Tony.
Aside.
Brandon.
Hey! Ow.
Wait, hold
Okay,
on.
Eric, say
and I'm
hi.
Eric. Welcome to Late Night Hearth. Today we are going to be talking about AI
Almost fell in my chair again.
and machine learning. So
Hey,
let's get
speaking of
right
AI,
into the topic.
I want to say.
So anyway,
Never mind then. My stream delay was really freaking long. It took like 30 seconds. My stream delay took 30 seconds.
Anyway, Expo Sheep, what are we doing today?
I can't actually hear Eric.
Nor do I.
Eric, is something wrong?
so we're going to be talking about machine learning today.
There we go.
So, and we're going to be talking about AI. I thought this was an interesting topic that Brandon brought up. He wanted to talk about it. So let's start off with Brandon, and let's talk about how machine learning works.
Dun 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 dun.
So,
Dan.
Brandon,
Thank you, Dan.
how does machine learning work?
All right, so machine learning. Let's take a look-see at this article that I found about machine learning. Wherever it is.
Great
Oh,
to see
yes,
Brandon's
machine
keeping
learning.
organized.
Machine learning applications are based on neural network, which is a network of algorithmic calculations that attempts to mimic the perception of thought processes of a human brain.
All right, I'm gonna slow you down right there, soldier. Let's speak in English. we do have a
language,
broader audience.
All right, so in order to define them, okay, so let's go back a little bit. So in order to define machine learning, we'll first have to find a broader term called artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is basically that. It's intelligence that is artificial. It's a learning program that learns that hold on. Program learns, it's able to solve its own problems that occur to it, and it's able to sort of think in basic logic that is given to it. And
So,
that's
the way-
basically the basics of artificial intelligence.
So the way the machine learning works, correct me if I'm wrong here. Machine learning works similar to that of natural selection. And if you don't know what natural selection is, it is the process of evolution in animals and how human came from monkey or ape technically. So the way machine learning works is you have a neural network, like you said, which is the equivalent of a brain. And you give the AI a task. If it succeeds better than everyone else, you take that AI and you repopulate it with a little bit of a mutation factor so that it's not exactly the same.
Wink.
Am I right?
Yeah, you sound about right, man.
Brandon?
Yep.
Does that sound about right?
Well, that sounds about right. I mean, that's probably just one way to do it.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that there are different ways to do it.
There are multiple ways. Basically, a machine learning is an application that learns by itself.
It
learns by itself. It can find out ways to actually reprogram itself as it generates more data. So it does the thing that's designed to perform more efficiently than the last iteration of it did before it reprogrammed itself.
So, in the sense of when it reprograms itself, how does it learning by itself work?
Basically, it's there's an input layer, and then there's a bunch of hidden layers that goes around that. Basically, at an input level, the data enters the network. At the hidden level, machine learning algorithms process the inputs, and apply weights, biases, and thresholds, all that kind of stuff. And in the output layer, we get the various conclusions. And then this happens over and over and over and over again. And each time it goes within increasingly more efficiency, and it goes in with increasingly
So
more
it
accurate
kills
sort of
off
data.
it kills off the ones that don't work the best, and then repopulates.
I guess so.
Okay.
I guess if you can consider it
And
that.
then my
And
thing
basically,
is,
the more inputs
where,
you give it to it, the more
so it doesn't
accurate
learn,
the outputs are.
So it doesn't learn only by itself. It does require a data set given to it by someone else.
Or maybe sometimes the machine itself can learn how to look for the data set by itself. But its data set has to be there, and I guess it has to be created in one way or another by a human being.
And it has to be, and the access to the data set has to be created by a human being.
Well,
Because
yeah,
with
think about
no
this.
way to receive input, an AI is basically.
Yeah, think about it this way: you're not directly giving, say, like Google's search AI direct sort of inputs. The inputs are exist, but the direct search algorithms are looking for specific URLs to put on their search database. That's how Google gets all the URLs and all the search results that are going on. This also requires some human input just to figure out, okay, this is what people who are using the site are searching the most for. We should put these sort of the most click results on top.
Okay, so
You know what I mean?
you bring up Google.
So it's a combination of the both, I guess.
So you bring up Google, right? And you bring up Google with a search algorithm, that is, and you mentioned just the logical side of things. So when it comes to Google, how do you think money comes into play? Because you can pay for your search result to get faster, regardless the amount of hits you get.
That is, think that might be completely separate of the algorithm that's in play. I think at that point you can start to have Google themselves implementing the code and purposely getting their
Okay, so I want you to
things on top
imagine
of their search result.
there are thousands, or my bad, there are millions. Let's take it to 100,000. There are 100,000 small businesses. I don't think they have enough programmers to sit there and do that all day.
Well, they don't. I mean,
If they are all paying to get to the top of the list when someone searches up Brad's cookies or something, you know.
Brad's cookies.
I don't
search that right now.
I don't think that someone is sitting there hard coding Brad's cookies to get to the top of the list.
I don't know why that name is
I'd
just
want
so
to.
funny for me.
I think there is an algorithm in play, and I think it's a comparative algorithm where it's like the amount of money, if they spent money, ignore the hits that they got on their website, and put their rating dependent on the amount of money they spent or something like that. Right? I think it's a simple if statement in there.
Yeah, that probably is an if statement. That's probably where the AI.
It's probably not as simple as I'm explaining it, but
that might be where the AI aspect of it dies, and where the sort of
I don't
maybe hard code comes in. By the way, there is a Brad's Bakery in Rochester, New York. Just thought I might add that there.
Cool, because we
Can I
needed
just
to
mention
know
one
that.
more thing
Oh
about
my
Google?
God. If we're selling
Okay.
out right now, I might as well bring up that this is the last day for the charity fundraiser that we're doing.
Oh,
It's called RAD. I guess this isn't technically selling out because it's for a charity, but it's called RAD, Rise Above the Disorder. It helps with mental health issues. So if you want to donate, you can click the link below, or I can do a neat little command that I put in, and you can click the one in chat right now.
do that
you
neat
got-
little
you got
command
that
there,
button.
Eric. Oh,
So-
look at that.
Oh, what's funny is we got the.
What a neat
I don't
little
think this
command.
was intentional, but how funny! We're using an AI right now to post the.
We
charity.
are.
yeah.
Yeah.
The
We
bot.
are, yes.
We're using a bot to post things. So
We're
using
hip, I
this
swear.
as the pivot, I would like to pivot onto the helpful nature of AI, because the rest of the stream might not be so upbeat, especially towards the end here. So let's focus right now on how helpful AI is for us in day-to-day life. And when I say helpful, I don't mean the Alexa that wakes you up at 3 a.m. because she thought she heard someone
Why
say her
3
name.
a.m.? Wait, why?
Did you not hear that story?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
You very much are
Okay,
lacking
now
in
you have to
context.
Okay,
in that
no,
story.
okay. So this
Tell us
isn't
what-
this is not my personal story. This is Alexa probably being the most helpful an AI could be. So this is a creepy story, by the way. So if you get creeped out easily, beware.
Pause the question mark?
There was this girl, who walked into her apartment one day to find her creepy landlord there, and he was looking around and he said, "Oh, I was just checking in on you or what," right? And he leaves. And then later that night she goes to bed, and Alexa at like 3 a.m. early morning hours says, "Sorry, I did not hear that," and wakes her up, only to hear huffing from her closet. It's
Oh god.
yeah. So the landlord got in the closet. So it's creepy as hell.
Why did the landlord in the closet?
I don't think.
Brandon,
You
probably know why.
Let's just say there was
Let's
a reason
not
why he
talk
was
about it.
huffing.
Yeah, he was creeping on her basically, and it's and AI can be helpful by making mistakes, but it can be helpful by doing what it's supposed to. And what we're going to talk about now is AI doing what it's supposed to.
Any raid.
So
I'm honestly thinking about that
Eric,
one.
Tony
Yes.
researched some topics for us tonight.
Well,
one
a
of
topic, yes.
which was spinach. So why don't you tell us about how AI and spinach are now friends?
All right. Well, this is actually super cool because one of the things. Okay, let me actually not reread this, but I guess jog my memory real quick. Basically, what spinach is being used for now in technology is it's actually being used to send like signals when it detects like explosives. Because apparently, if I read this correctly, where is it? Hold on. The spinach roots actually detect the same amount of compounds in the soil that is actually used to make explosives. So basically, it'll send an email back to whatever hub it is linked up to, and say, "Hey, there's an explosive here," or whatever. You know?
Yeah, I think that's really cool that they're able to figure out, like, mixed biology and technology is one of my favorite things to do.
So yeah,
Wow,
they're
Popeye
basically
was right.
the way I'm getting this is that they're using, and I did read this article too, is that they're using spinach as sort of
the detector.
infrared transmitters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That are
Using
ping-
carbon
Can I ask a quick question? Where did you read? What was the like? Who made the article? Who wrote it?
Euronews.
Nice. All right, cool. Just
So-
curious.
So
article credibility is a huge thing.
I just would like to ask Ryan, what are your thoughts on this? Like, how cool is it that we're able to get signals from spinach to tell us where explosive is?
I don't know what spinach is.
You don't know what spinach is?
Have you
Wait, are you
ever
serious?
seen
You don't know what
Popeye?
spinach is?
Oh, you're talking about the actual. You're talking about the actual. I thought it was something else. I thought it was like something else.
No, spinach,
I'm
the
really,
plant.
I'm really tired.
Because of all of the different kinds of
I thought it was
spinach
like some sort of like. Sorry, I'm having a total boomer moment.
Okay, what's funny is if you were having a boomer moment, you'd be eating spinach, being like, "Oh, I know what spinach is." You actually just had a zoomer moment and completely forgot.
I don't know what
actually
spinach is. Okay, anyway.
Oh, spinach! Is this a new?
Okay.
A new
carrot.
technology term? No.
I-
We're using
okay,
we're
I
using
legit-
they're
Food
using
package
plants.
company?
They're using plants to detect compounds that are related to explosives. So what are your
damn.
thoughts on this?
That's pretty damn amazing.
Yeah. I just find it neat. I just find it neat that a spinach has its own email address now.
Dude, what?
Because you said they're emailing him to the scientists, right?
Ba-
So
basically
each
using the
spinach
infrared.
has an email address.
Using the infrared waves.
Just imagine a bomb squad just on site with just a can of spinach.
Cans of spinach.
Just
wait,
like,
even
hold
funnier.
on, we have to plant the spinach. We'll be back in a few days.
Even funnier. To imagine that a bomb squad comes onto the scene, right? They've got bags of spinach ready to go. Wait, but here's the problem. Popeye comes in.
Oh crap! No, Popeye's the one who planted the bomb,
Yeah.
so we can get all the spinach.
Oh my god.
Wait,
Just like
what
bomb run
I'm-
over, or just
what I'm imagining-
realistically,
Where are
like a
spinach
rabbit
going?
would come in or something.
yeah,
and somebody
yeah.
would come and eat all that spinach. It would be a disaster.
It would.
The whole
Can I-
bomb run would be over.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick? So what
Well-
I'm imagining is like the spinach is like a metal detector and just starts beeping.
It goes like an antenna.
Like, you know those guys, the guys in the Wild West who would look for oil with the stick,
Yeah.
right? That's what the bomb squads of the future look like. They have a lettuce, or they have a spinach leaf, and they're like
Spinach
it
on the
tilts down if there's a bomb. Like
leaf. At this point,
Jelly
Yeah.
scientific means the devil is around.
Okay.
Actually, wait a minute.
Pardon my
Wouldn't the
language, but if it
bunnies
goes limp,
explode
it's a
before they
bomb.
get to the bombs?
probably. No, they'll
Before they get to the
explode when they
spinach.
get to the bombs. What do you mean?
so.
But before they get to the spinach.
I just love how you can take something like I love mixing biology and technology. I'm not together like as one unit right now because I don't know if we've really perfected that. But per se, I've actually been thinking about doing this is loosely related. I've been thinking about doing some Arduino stuff for my snake cages so I can set up automatic timers with a mechanical switch because my
How much
things
Michael Reeves have you been watching?
none.
Dude, how much Willie Moss? No,
None.
like if you do a lot of computer science stuff, you'll basically want to screw with an Arduino at some point, right?
Yeah, it's just like the nature of things. It's like,
Or a
you know what?
Raspberry Pi,
Arduinos
honestly.
seem fun. Yeah. What were you saying? Ian?
No, I said or a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah,
I mean, again, I don't
yeah.
know if they are like one. I don't know if it's one and the same as, and I don't know if Raspberry Pi is a form of Arduino or something like that.
I think they're different.
But,
they're different brands, but they're like any computer.
Got it. So they're both the same. Yeah. So they're
Yeah.
one and the same, really. Okay, I was just making sure of that. But yeah, like so it's the same kind of idea, though. I know, like those, like for my radio stuff, people use Raspberry Pis to make things to help like track satellites and whatnot.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm gonna be for real. Hold on. I actually kind of forgot what I was gonna say.
So-
I'll figure it out later.
So
Oh wait, never mind. I figured it out. Sorry. I think the thing I would use an Arduino for is probably to hook up a bunch of lights to get like a crazy shot for like a camera thing or for like a picture.
that is the lamest.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
Like,
it's
I'm
kinda
gonna be
lame.
honest. You could just get a timer. Like, you don't need an Arduino for that.
Or like
I
you
mean,
could just sit and
You can borrow an
adjust them
Arduino that you can do with the
by
timer.
hand.
Yeah, I'm talking about stuff like creating a mechanical rover or servo switch on my canopy tops for my snakes. So when I press a button on my phone or set a timer, they automatically turn it off.
So you'd also have to snake proof it.
It would already be snake proof because it's out
Be
of their
outside.
cage. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Also, that's not that hard. You just have a
I would
double
have-
container, cut some holes in it.
I would have
I'm
to.
not sure what I would use an
waterproof it,
Arduino
though.
for.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Ryan,
whatever.
what would you use an Arduino for?
Funny question, Eric.
I'm curious. If you had the ability to get a small computer to do whatever you wanted, what would you use it for?
I'd probably just do something Michael Reeves would do and just give it to tase a bunch of people.
Femboy.
No,
Of
no, no, no.
course.
Wait,
What,
I
what about
would-
you? What about you, Dan?
Huh. I don't know. Like, I have an AI. I just simply say, okay, let's have a conversation.
So you would make an AI that talks to you.
That is genius.
Kind
I
of
mean-
like something that
What are
Mr.
you even
Ian
talking
wanted to
about?
bring up tonight.
Oh wow, it's as though
What a segue.
we've
Wait, did we
figured
get
I
this
couldn't
out.
tell
Yeah,
if you were
though
being
we-
sarcastic about the genius thing.
did we get Brandon's thing?
Actually,
though?
no. I was kind of.
Brandon
being
said he
serious about that.
wouldn't. He didn't know what. But it probably is
okay.
something.
I do know what I would do with it.
Okay, what would
actually.
you
Now
do
he
with it?
does.
Now he does.
I
After my
would-
segue, of course.
Yeah.
I would make like a personal assistant R2D2 robot.
I'm
Uh,
pretty
pretty much
sure
a-
you would need more than
You're-
Arduino for that.
I was gonna say, I think like
Yeah.
it'd be like your life's work.
I don't.
in
Think,
making-
I don't
I
think
think
that's an
you'd need,
Arduino.
like, A lot of money to do that.
Like I'll probably need like 20 Arduinos.
You'd
just in
probably
your head
need
alone.
something more powerful than an Arduino.
Yeah.
So multiple Arduinos are
I
more
don't know
powerful
that.
than one.
Well,
Or I would probably need a whole computer for
The
that.
thing is, you would need like an Arduino for like each minute computation that automated. I mean, you're basically making a human that you're putting in the shell of a robot because you
Yeah.
want it to do everything basically a human would do. So every human task, thought, action, anything would need its
So,
own.
I think you're better
Arduino.
off with a hard drive and a motherboard, honestly. Than an
Or maybe-
Arduino.
or maybe just a robot-sized record disc changer.
You know what would be really cool? I just thought of a solution for you.
Hold on, Brandon.
I
That's
thought
called a
of a sol-
jukebox.
I just thought of a solution for you, Brandon. What if you use the Arduino to connect to a server and the server does all the computations for you? And the Arduino
nice.
just sends out the signals to the parts that they need to do. So that way so the Arduino just receives
involved.
input. It's involved and you would have to have constant access to the server. But if the R2D2 is not leaving your house, you're fine. Or if R2D2 has a Wi-Fi signal.
Or maybe I would just have a bunch of Arduinos all around my house,
Or
connected to one central server. So I'll
My
be like,
other
"Hey,
question-
Arduino, turn on lights."
Quick
get an
question
Amazon
in
Echo.
regards to this. Would you need to then either recreate or learn the language of R2D2? Would you have to be the guy who writes the language of it in order to actually figure out what the conversations you would be able to have with them would be?
I don't know. I'll just probably make them speak English.
It's not
I
R2D2 then.
am R2D2.
Yeah, hello, hi, my name's R2D2. How's it going, guys? Nice to meet you. Cheers.
I'll
Bro,
probably
it's
have
like
him have a
you.
Boston accent. Hey, yo, I'm R2D2.
Oh my God.
What do you
All
want?
right, all right.
That's
all
not
right.
even.
Whatever.
a
We
Boston
laugh.
That's
accent.
not
We're
even a
far.
Boston accent. I don't even know what that was.
That
It's like
was like
South.
a mix between Canadian and New York.
What the hell
So,
did I miss?
so
What?
Whatever.
anyway, so Dan,
Hmm?
what specifically would you do with your AI?
Well, like I said, I would just well, it's kind of similar to Brandon. Well, I just said I
What-
would like it for it to talk to me, but
Would you be similar to that movie Her?
Oh God.
Do you know what
Her?
movie that is? Her. A guy makes
I'm
an AI.
unfamiliar
A
with
guy
this.
makes an
A guy
AI so intelligent
and
it becomes self-aware and
and
loves
falls in love with
humanity
it.
and falls in love with it.
Oh
and
wait,
marries the AI.
wait. This
Yeah.
this reminds me of a Deus Machina, I think it was, or
Deus
Deus
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
Yeah,
Ex
Oh.
Machina.
Deus Ex.
No, it's
Uh,
just
not-
Ex Machina.
Just Ex Machina.
Machine of
Deus
God.
Ex is the-
Yeah, Ex
Machining-
Machina. Yeah.
Machine of God, yeah, Ex Machina.
No, I
Ex
think it's
Machina.
machine. It's God from the machine.
I have a
Yeah,
question
that's
to
it.
ask about that, but I'll wait until after this is over. 'Cause
So anyway, moving on to Ian's thing.
yeah, okay. So, my fascinating thing about AI is called, well, I have two things. One is called AI Dungeon. It is a interactive, like basically a role-playing game that's entirely text-based, and the other side of it is all AI. So it'll come up with like a scenario based on information you give it. So you give it like the name of the character and then like a little bit of background information, and then it'll create this whole story. And then your goal is it'll just ask you basically what next questions, or like, what do you do?
I
and
wish.
then you type in whatever you want in whatever you do, and then it'll do or say, or it'll act out exactly what you tell it. The important thing to know though is again, this is it's not perfect. So there are moments where it'll say something that you weren't expecting it to, or there are moments where you need to use particular characters and symbols and stuff in order to put it in a form that the AI will understand. And all that stuff you can easily find on the internet in order to figure out what all of the little parameters are for it. But I mean, you could literally spend forever on this thing and just have unending stories. You could put in if you make a detailed enough explanation, you could literally make something with people that you really know. I mean, I've done it before. I've put in friends' names and general descriptions of them, and it came up with a story that literally it sounded like it could have happened between me and my friends.
That's pretty
It's kind of
cool.
wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going off of this, since we have an AI here who's basically writing stories, do you think AI could start taking jobs from people? I mean, they already have, but the creative side of industries. Do you
Can
think
I
AI?
can I
We
can
can
I
come back.
answer this? And no,
Yeah.
can I answer this in a
I can
complex
also
way?
answer this too.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Wait,
So here's how I would answer this. One, there's evidence of this happening already, and you can find
Mhm.
it. I'm pretty sure Brandon's got ideas on that, so I'll leave that for him. But what I will say is there's something that you could find on the internet called uh they're called Google experiments, and Google they do experiments trying to uh push the technology of computers forward. And it's open source code, and it's all of these independent groups that are making projects, and you can upload your projects there. One of their sections on there is AI technology, and I have it up so I can kind of just explain a few things that they have that are pretty notable things. One of them is literally like there's what neural networks see, so you can see the layers of a neural network. There's a teachable machine in which what you do is you can make hand signals, and then it'll do a particular thing within there, whether it be play a noise or do something, so you can see it working. It's
Mhm.
little minute
Yeah.
things. There's one called quick draw where uh where it'll come up with a thing on the screen, and you have to try and draw out what it says on the screen, and then the AI will try and guess what it is you're drawing. The reason I mention this, that question of will they be able to do our work for us, well, all of these little things are going to eventually bit by bit be able to do things that we humans do.
Mhm.
And so eventually, once this gets compiled up enough, I mean, there's literally one where you can write, I think it's
It's
you
funny
write
that it's funny that
on
you
your
use
own
the
and it
term.
goes out in cursive.
It's funny that you use the term compile here.
well,
um, but yes,
Yeah.
I agree. I think all these tiny little tasks will eventually just become one huge job that humans were once doing, and I think that's scary for a lot of humans. And certain measures need to be met by higher ups to put uh, AI in its place. I think one thing that really needs to be met is we need to limit AI use, because as of right now, if you have a company who's racing for AI and you're their competitor, you would be absolutely stomped if you all didn't race them for AI, which leaves to people rushing things, and we need to slow down, make sure everything we're doing with AI is safe and practical, because if we're
Mhm.
not, we could make a major slip up,
Mhm.
and I think
Well,
that's the
they,
scary part.
And
yeah,
that's kind of where I was gonna go for. And I'm gonna say my opinion on this whole sort of creative side thing. And by the way, speaking of compile, I had almost had a heart attack today, completing my computer science
I could have helped you with
Right.
it. You needed. I know. I'm pretty sure I knew where you
It's
needed. Yeah.
basically simple usage of a header file
Yes.
called statistician, and a bunch of boolean and um
a bunch of values.
a bunch of boolean
Boolean
expressions and all that
values.
stuff.
Really,
Chat. For those who don't know, Boolean values are values that you're telling a computer that are either going to be true or false. nothing else.
And a bunch of like expressions and stuff like that. I'll show you the code after a
No worries.
podcast.
So you were gonna say on the topic that I brought up with the creative side of humanity being replaced.
I think that there are many things that AI can really replace. You know, the food service industry, it's already being done. There are a bunch of articles about AI taking over a bunch of McDonald's facilities, for example.
Mhm.
But for something that is as human and as sort of what is it,
One,
Personal.
one,
personal
yeah.
as music,
Mhm.
I believe the human element in that is irreplaceable because something like any sort of machine can use tools to do whatever it thinks it does, but the human element that's been around since the genesis of humanity
Mhm.
is virtually irreplaceable in that respect.
Well,
That's why you'll have AI that comes pretty close into making like. There's no doubt in my mind that AI can make like a top 10 sort of pop hit because those are just like. I don't want to take a dump on anyone's music preferences, but those are very easy to make, and there's not much artist integrity per se in those
Agreed.
sort of
I think
genres of music. But for something as complex as say like jazz or experimental rock or
Or progressive rock.
or
progressive rock or even like
metal.
something as like inhuman or or
One
human or close to the heart as something like
one thing that I would like to add to this.
love music. There's
Yeah.
no way you can replace the human
One
aspect
thing
of
I
that.
would like to add to this, and this comes purely from a drummer's perspective. There's this thing that you do on the drums called let the beat breathe, and it's basically you're staying within the same exact tempo, but you're just ever so slightly off sometimes to make it feel as though the song's faster or the song's slower, but you're still on tempo. And I don't know if AI could replicate that because
Probably not.
it's just a feeling, right? And
Yeah.
and I wanted to transition into this because I know me and Ryan watched this anime, which relates a lot to what Brandon is saying. It's called Carol and Tuesday, and
Great anime.
it's a great anime. And what it's about is AI take over the music industry, and
Yeah.
people or two girls, Carol and Tuesday, don't use AI to write their songs, and they rise to the top because they quote
And
unquote brought the soul back into music.
yeah. And now here's the thing.
Watch it in
For
English.
yeah,
Yeah.
that and when it comes to the music, it is obviously not the greatest pop music
No,
in the world. But from an anime perspective or a television show perspective, oh my god.
I think
Also, if you want to go check out the episode of the podcast where I got the CD from Eric, go check out the Merry Christmas episode.
so. I think as I was saying,
Right.
I think that the music within Carol and Tuesday is actually amazing. Again, it's
So do I.
probably not the best music you've ever heard, but you can tell some serious thought was put into it, and
Oh yeah.
and it relates to the story that is happening, and the ending, Mother, was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I love Mother. It's so good.
Can I also talk about the animation because I think it has to do with AI, just like briefly.
I don't know if it does, but sure.
It has to do with like the way the coordination of Tuesday's finger movement.
That's not AI, but it's interesting that you
That's
bring
not.
that up.
Oh,
No. So what that is, this I think you'll like this. When you see something as softly drawn as that, technically it could be AI, but I don't think it is, and here's why. They have a very hand-drawn looking style. So what I think they
yeah.
did is they filmed a video and then they traced over frame by frame.
Mhm.
But there is an AI that will do that for you. And it's free to download. In fact, you can take a video, draw over 3 frames of the video, depending on how long it is, and it will fill in the animations for you. And
That
it'd be
sounds
Oh,
amazing.
damn.
it's be 60. It will be 60 FPS if you shot in 60 FPS. It'll be 24 if you shot in 24. It doesn't matter. And if it messes up, which it will do frequently, it's in alpha right now. You just go back into the keyframes and then you draw one where it messed up, and it'll fix the rest of those frames. And then you just keep
Wow.
doing that until it's done. It
I-
saves a lot of time on the animation process.
I do want to say, in this kind of context, since we're kind of transitioning into the art world, I have a take on it, but I want to elaborate on this a little bit more. The thing you do lose with this, obviously, is the human touch. And yes, you like you said, it does mess up, but you lose the soul. You lose the soul that an artist would actually give to
What is the soul?
the, I guess,
Eric and AI.
really just a human doing it, and all the little things that an artist would do, like add a minute detail or a deliberation in like where a typeface is or something, or why this
But-
character has a certain look, or
But can an AI not just train off of that graphic designer or off of that artist and then mimic
They
their
could,
style?
but it's
It
not its own
it
sort of
could,
work.
but it might take
The
a while.
irony here,
But
Brandon,
hold on.
off of what you said, the irony here is AI who trained off of someone else makes its own thing, and you called it it's not its own work. But aren't we all doing that? Aren't we all just training off of someone else to make our own product?
Yeah,
No,
I mean
that's
that.
not-
Yeah.
Can I give a take on this quickly?
Yeah.
We're getting
My-
philosophical with this.
This is fun. I like this. Here's the thing. The way I see it is this: you're the soul of a particular either artwork or music form. Because I kind of lump music and art together.
Yeah.
It's you being you. When you have an AI do something, even if you teach the AI how to do it, you can't. Other people can't come in and be like you can't go to an art gallery of
And-
all AI made artwork and be like, why did the
Yeah.
artist decide to do this, that, or the other thing? And it's like those things are what make art fun, or what
Yeah.
make music fun. It's that little bit of like, I wonder what was going through his mind, or I wonder how he was feeling
It's the
that
story
day.
behind.
You can't
Yeah.
do that if AI makes something.
And
Just
and
made me think of Detroit Becoming Human.
what
And
Yeah.
you can't just go like, what lines of code went into this? Like, no, that's not what. That's not.
It's
not
that's
feeling.
just removing the human connection there.
what I
Yeah.
think here, right, is and the way I wanted to resolve this topic was, I think the soul isn't the mass product. It is the tiny little mistakes that a human will always have. Because our imperfections is what make us human. Taking them out, calling it perfect, makes it in.
Exactly.
I both agree and disagree with you. Because here's the thing, perfect is kind of a subjective term. Like everybody has their
Oh, I
own
mean,
definition
you
of
can-
what's perfect and what isn't perfect. I mean, again, like for me, like I could say I made the perfect play in Rainbow Six Siege, when in reality, a professional Rainbow
Yeah.
Six player could have 1,000 flaws, or I could see flaws in somebody else's game. So it's like perfection isn't really, in
So
my opinion, a thing.
I want to define perfection here, right? And perfection here is objective perfection. It's not subjective perfection. And what I mean by that is, if you were to give an AI a drawing, it would draw all the lines straight. It will draw all the circles perfectly, right? It will have the perfect degrees, the perfect angles, everything.
Yeah.
But the human wouldn't, and that's what I'm saying, right?
Well, yeah, but the thing
that's
is
their objective perfection is the steps, not the end product.
well, my thing is, what if what the actual artist, the person who has the idea for this AI to make something, wants absolute perfection, and they want those lines to be perfectly drawn? In that case, then it's the same. Then we're kind of on even playing fields, because I'm saying that it's what the artist wants. Does the artist get what he wants out of it, and in that case, that will define it as either perfect or imperfect. I mean, again, whether your lines are perfectly straight or something like that to me doesn't really make any sense because if like,
No,
there's
but do you understand where I'm coming from when I
yeah,
say
I do. I
the
understand exactly.
objective perfection?
Yeah, I fully understand what you're saying. You're saying,
Like the
like if you tell someone to
mathematic,
draw,
the
yeah,
mathematic
like you would
perfection.
take, it'd be like drawing instead of just drawing freehand, you'd be drawing with like a protractor and a ruler and all that stuff to make perfectly
And
straight lines and all that.
and
If you were
here's the
doing it
thing.
by hand.
Even if you're doing it with like a protractor, that's still considered human because what made those tools, right? We use those tools to
Machines.
help
Yeah,
with
I'm
this
just,
stuff.
I only use
I
that as an example
I
of
hate to tell you,
perfection.
Tony, but machines did
Well,
nowadays.
now they do, but we used to.
Got
But
him.
but they aid us in making something supposedly perfect, right? I was actually just thinking about this because it ties into graphic design. We use all these programs to help us make something that's visually symmetrical. Say I'm like drawing a circle, right? I can't draw a freaking perfect circle
Just do what
by
that guy
freehand.
did in the geometry video.
Are you talking about the video with the guy who just takes his arm and just goes like, and then does a whole perfect circle?
Yeah.
Well,
Like where he
I'm not
flips
that
his
guy.
wrist.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm not that guy. But honestly, now I'm thinking of that one episode of SpongeBob where he like draws an entire face, erases it all, and it's a perfect circle.
Of course, I start with this guy, then I erase all the details, and then 1, 2, 3, a circle.
Yeah,
Thing.
that basically. But the
Yeah.
way this ties into graphic design is we're all so used to making stuff on like Affinity Design or Photoshop that we end up really neglecting more physical forms of art and media. This is actually something I learned recently, or I guess learned to consider more by experimenting with physical media and then maybe translating it into technology, or taking like photographs that you took on a DSLR and
Mhm.
making a massive collage on the wall and like spray painting like designs on all that stuff. The layers are endless with this.
So
You can it's really you can do it both ways, but
yeah.
in that sense you still retain the human aspect of it, but I
Eric,
guess
sorry.
Yeah.
sorry,
I wanted to transition here to facial recognition. You mentioned
hold
taking
on.
photos.
I
And
did also hold on.
there's
I wanted to say one more thing about the creative world. If we let AI continue to learn from our art, they're going to take our jobs. They're going to take the entire reason why we came to art school
this
and
is
learned how to do graphic design.
this is coming up in a little bit. But for right now, let's talk about facial recognition.
Oh, right.
Now, facial recognition is a form of AI. It's basically there's a database of faces called your driver's license, and the AI is able to look for your face, right? And there was this app. I don't know if you guys remember this or not. There's this app who, if you took a picture of someone, would remove their makeup. Do you remember this?
I think there's
Yeah.
another one now called Face App. I mean, it doesn't do that, but it
Yeah.
will it does other things.
Yeah.
Like it'll make you look old and stuff.
Now, do you know? I have a question for all of you, and I just want a quick, short answer if you have it. Do you know what this app's original purpose was?
I think it was to detect, I guess, immigrants, maybe.
No.
I have no idea.
So
I've never
there's
even heard
this
of it.
very bad side of the world, linked to the dark web, and human trafficking, and what you would do, or what you wouldn't do this, hopefully, if you're watching this, but what people would do is you would put makeup, heavy amounts of makeup on people to disguise them, and they were training this app in the public space because that's the easiest way to train something is release it to the public. They'll find it fun, they'll find it funny, and we'll have all of our data sets. Like, that's it. But people revolted against the app. You know why?
I'm kind of confused, and I don't really understand what was their end goal with using this app?
They were going to use it to detect, to find people who have been human trafficked.
Oh, people who
Are stuck in human trafficking.
police force and stuff like that.
No, like children
People who
who
have,
were
like-
stolen and
Yeah.
now are in
Oh,
No,
human
I'm
trafficking.
saying
Oh,
we're
yeah, the police force were
looking
going-
for
yes,
using this
yeah.
app. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And people revolted against this app. Do you know why?
Because girls like their makeup.
Kind of. People were saying, I don't know if this word's allowed on Twitch, but I'm gonna say it anyway. People were saying it is quote unquote rape to take someone's makeup off without their permission, and that is what this app is doing.
Wait, what? Okay, hold on. Are we that level?
I-
Hold on. What?
I have lost all logic there, my friend.
What?
There is no logic there. That's the
And
dumbest statement I've ever heard.
this app got shut down because of it. The app that was gonna help people. I wish I could get the article up for you guys. If I find it, when this YouTube video goes out, I will put it in the description. It may have been another YouTube video that I watched as well, so I might put that in the description, but I will definitely try and get my sources.
Here's what I'll
for you
do.
guys.
All I have to say is that sounds like something they would have
No,
taught us in my English class last year or last semester.
I'll play devil's advocate on this one. I think that is a bit of a far-fetched statement, but I can somewhat see the other side of that argument.
Mhm.
I'm not saying I believe this, but I'm saying I understand kind of where they're coming from.
I
People-
understand. I understand if people were going up taking pictures of random girls or random guys, just take their makeup off. I guess I understand that it's kind of offensive and it's like whatever, but at the end of the day, you can probably just brush that off, right? It doesn't hurt anyone.
Here's what I'm gonna say. The point that I think they're trying to make is what we as men tend to forget is that women who wear makeup, some of them, turn their identity into the makeup that they wear.
It was called Make App,
Whatever, but
and it's a
but
face
they
filtering.
but these people, these women who I'm guessing complained about this, they wear makeup, and a lot of women feel attached their
Mhm.
personality and who they are to the makeup that they wear. So when they're not wearing their makeup, they feel like they feel like their identity is being taken away from them, which is why you may or may not see them in makeup.
I'm gonna say
Okay.
something.
So I have an article here. Give me a second. I have an article here. It's from Mashable.com, but it still talks about it. I might be able to find something a little bit more reputable, but
Mind if I interject a little bit about this whole sort of?
I'm gonna finish this because I have not even talked about what's on the site yet.
Okay.
So they're talking about how it was misogynistic, and it was, it was, I guess, it was offensive in some type of way, which I guess it could be construed as such, but it even says the underlying technology, which according to Gabrielov, very, very, it seems like Russian name, uses whatever might be impressive. I know it was originally used or going to be used for
Human trafficking.
Yeah. So yes, Brandon, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that there might that this whole might stem from an issue within itself about I'm gonna put this as PC as possible. People putting their entire kind of personality behind their makeup.
Or let me
kinda-
quickly tweak that statement and say putting their entire personality on one thing, right? The great part of a personality is it's every single part that makes you you. And if you only have one part that makes you kind of don't have a personality.
Well,
Exactly.
I
Especially
would
if
like,
that one thing is purely aesthetic in nature.
Well, again, I would like to play devil's advocate in this case.
Same
The only reason
could be said.
I call it devil's advocate is because it's kind of the opposite stance that you guys are taking.
No, I know,
But
I know.
I'll be right back.
I'm just making sure. But in my opinion, it is, and this is actually my opinion, you can't really say that someone's entire personality, like, or that they don't have a personality because they feel like their identity is in the way they look. I mean, it's like if you when people go to when people go out in the world and like they want to and like you put on
Mhm.
clothes that you feel proud to be in and
Mhm.
stuff like that, and people say there's a saying, it's like dress for success and whatnot. I mean, we are lucky because I mean we're men, so we're able to kind of just throw on something nice, like some nice clothes and whatever, and you know basically just like swipe your hair to the side, throw some gel in it if you really want to get
I
fancy.
wish I could do that. I can't do
I mean,
that.
in my case, like
Yeah.
if I want to go and I want to again, like when I go to like school or when I go in non-pandemic times, but like when I go to school or when I go to go out somewhere or whatever, I just I wear a collared golf shirt. I've
Mhm.
got a quarter zip. I'm literally wearing it now,
Mhm.
and with this I'm like casual, but
Yeah.
it's like I'm kind
No,
of put together, or I can wear a button-down shirt. I just want to finish saying this very
yeah.
quickly. Women, on the other hand, don't really have that liberty because people will judge them because one, if they don't wear makeup, they will likely get judged, and plus there's a lot of pressure more so on women than on men to look a certain way or be a certain way. So it's not really that they necessarily
I wouldn't
here's the
say be a certain way. I would agree with look a certain way. And there's a lot of pressure to be a certain way, and we're not going to get deep into this topic because that's not what this podcast is about, but there's a lot of pressure to be a certain way on everyone. And that's all I'm going to say. But to look a certain way, I will agree with you. Um, I believe that the standards are raised for women. And personally, I don't want to lower the bar for women with that. No, I want to raise the bar for men because I feel like, why not wear a suit, I like
don't
suits. I love suits. I wish I could wear them all the time without being looked at weird,
I don't want to dwell on this too long, but I just want to say, why not get rid of the bar altogether? Why
That's
need a bar?
okay. Here's why you need a bar.
Oh God! Here, wait. Think about this, Eric. You've got a lot of other stuff you want to talk about.
I know, but I'm gonna put this very simply. You need a bar because you need a standard. If society doesn't have standards, then everyone goes their own way. And the bar can be different for whatever. I don't care, but you do need to have a standard, right? It doesn't need to be like look this exact dress and dress this exact way. No, but when you say why have a bar at all, you're now saying, "Oh, I guess we don't need a shower. I guess we don't need proper hygiene anymore."
I'm not.
I guess
I don't think
remove
that is
it because that's part of the bar. You understand that, right?
I mean, I don't think hygiene kind of goes into the bar of fashion.
I think hygiene goes heavily into the bar of looks. Like if you're going to look good, you need to take care of yourself.
Like,
That's part of it.
yeah, but I don't think. I mean, again, the last thing I'll say on this is my main point of getting rid of the bar is on things like when you go to a business meeting. Some people will wear a suit, yes, but there are people who want to who are of a particular culture or something, and they want to wear like traditional clothing to something because
That's
that's what
perfectly
they feel
fine.
proper in.
Yeah,
But
no.
that might be fine to you, but then to a lot of other places, they're like, well, we have a dress code, you have to be this particular way. And then they're not
Are you
comfortable with
sure about that?
Yes,
Do you have
very.
sources?
I can find sources.
Okay, bring them to me.
Fetch me their soul.
Sorry, I was
Yeah, I really
stop.
didn't want to go down this rabbit hole, but I guess we did.
I mean, hey,
No.
it's a topic.
So far down here.
So, anyway,
What did I
I
miss?
honestly, you missed us talking about women's
standards.
fashion because we got onto the topic of makeup. I think, in all honesty, I'll agree with you. Women have to try harder to look like acceptable, I guess is the term. However,
And
removing their makeup, back to the main point, removing their makeup with a filter, I don't think is really an offense on their rights. I don't think it is a direct violation of their rights as
I think we need to be more accepting on women just being their natural selves.
I
You
don't
know?
think this is the topic of this podcast, so I'm
No,
moving
It is
on.
not the topic of this
Let's
podcast.
move on.
But that's just kind of my opinion on the whole issue.
So
That's all I'll say about that.
what I'm
Moving
going
on.
to say here is we have negative effects that we have to talk about AI, and we only have 10 minutes remaining.
Wow.
So, or actually, yeah, no, 20
We have
minutes
5.
remaining.
Oh, 20? Oh,
So- So, I just like to bring up some of the ramifications of technology and ramifications of AI, and one of the ramifications that was brought up and brought to my attention by Brandon, he wanted to talk about this, was deepfakes. If you don't know what a deepfake it is where you take a photo of someone and then you plaster it onto someone else's body, and it makes it look like that person was doing whatever that other person did, right? And this is extremely dangerous. This puts a lot of people into compromising positions, such as politicians and normal people, because whole careers could be ruined if you're put onto the internet doing the wrong thing, you know? So I feel as though I don't even know what okay, I do know. There is one proper use of a deepfake, and I know what it is.
I
But
know what it is too.
It's film. It's
film. Yes, it's film.
It's to put film actors or actresses onto stunt doubles' bodies, right? So it looks like they were doing the stunts.
Or actually, you can put like
I know I wasn't there. I may be wrong about this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone who knows this knowledge. Wasn't there a case where Scarlett Johansson was pregnant and they deepfaked
and
her
she
body?
was filming the Avengers.
Yeah, she was filming the Avengers, and they
It was
deepfaked.
Age of Ultron too.
Yeah.
No wonder it was a bad movie.
So they deepfaked her face onto her stunt double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
And they did.
Yeah.
Hold on. They also did the same thing in Fast and Furious 7
Okay.
when Paul Walker died.
well,
That's
that,
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That technology, those technology was kind of iffy at the moment.
Yeah.
Even nowadays, sometimes it's iffy. Like I go to Star Wars. Spoiler alert: if you didn't watch Mandalorian season 2.
We're not
I
going
haven't
there.
seen it, but I don't intend on watching
A
it.
certain
But there's
old
a lot of other
character
people.
comes back who's deep faked onto another person's body.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I'll say that much. And
There was a deep fake.
actually, it wasn't deep faked. It looked like crap, but Corridor Digital actually did a deep fake, and it looks a billion times better. If you've watched The Mandalorian season 2, you know who I'm talking about, and you can watch the video after we're done the podcast.
So, I think that with everything, there is a balance. That if you don't know me by now, right? Probably not, because we just started this new format. But I will always say, with everything, there is a balance, right?
Mhm.
There will always be a good side to something. There will always be a bad side to something, no matter how you look at it, right? And
Pretty simple. Like there's always something good and something bad. Dynamite was originally invented for mining.
yes,
Then it was used for
for
war.
war, yes. And the person who invented dynamite, didn't he like write an apology? Oh wait, he made the Nobel Prize, didn't he?
All I know is they're both bad things in my
Wait.
opinion.
Hold on. I'm looking this up.
While you're
got
looking it
one
up,
for
mind
you
if
though,
I
Eric. If you like, not new. Well,
interject?
that sounds rude, but I've got something about that thing you wanted me to look up. If you want me to, if you want me to share.
Can we
But
talk
I know we're
about?
kind of
Yeah,
moved
can we talk
on.
about
But
it later?
Yeah,
yeah,
let's
we
move
go
on.
afterwards. Yeah.
I have something to interject
Okay,
about
so
deepfakes.
quickly.
Basically, everyone basically we
Okay, I
talked
said
about.
quickly. Let me say the thing I was gonna say quickly.
All right, fine.
So Alfred Nobel was the Swedish chemist, engineer, blah blah blah. He made dynamite, and he was the person making the Nobel Prize because he felt so apologetic for creating the destruction or the dynamite and it becoming a war tool. There you go.
All right, thanks, Eric, for going off topic. So basically,
No, it
about
wasn't.
deepfaking,
It was on topic because we were
Topic
just talking about it.
the topic was deepfakes. So anyway,
No, we were talking about good and bad things. I mentioned like with everything. Well, Eric mentioned everything. With everything good comes something bad. I mentioned dynamite.
We also did spend like half, like
Also,
not
we
half.
should mention Eric is the host of the podcast, so technically anything he mentions is technically on topic.
Everything is canon.
Also, we spent forever talking about clothing and.
And I
dress
was
code and
trying
whatever.
desperately to get away from it, but you were just like,
I
no,
know.
but women have to dress.
I was trying to be fair.
all right. So about
Yeah.
deepfakes, everyone knows that this technology exists, and everyone knows exactly what it's capable of. So when you're putting people in those compromising positions, people will start to maybe consider it as sort of a Lord of horse crap because this technology exists. People will automatically think, "Oh, it's fate because of so and so technology,"
I think
even when it's real.
I
And that's
think
also another issue.
deepfakes. I think deepfakes are one of are again they have that balance. There's a good side, there's a bad side, but I think that their bad side heavily outweighs. Because right now they're really only being used for film, and
They can ruin someone's life.
and they can ruin someone's life. Like
I don't think
I
think
mean,
there will ever be a use for them in society, personally.
honestly, I think they're only used in film, and I don't know if I necessarily
But like, imagine.
want.
Sorry, just quickly.
Yeah.
They're not even just though. Like, imagine we get beyond just like you know, film, as you've said, and you get to things like security camera footage, where
Yeah.
you can put somebody else's like a body and morph it onto another person
Yeah.
doing a crime.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to things where it's like, you can like what used to be undeniable proof of something will
Yeah.
now become into question. So
So now
that's
now we have a whole different discussion, which I really want to get into. And I think we have the time for it. If we keep it, yeah, we have the time for it.
Consistent.
Yeah, if we keep it consistent. I think deepfakes altering footage. I think that's why, by the way, I think what is it called? The law of evidence or whatever. I think that's why that's so important. Like making sure that nothing has the chance to be tampered with. But just the possibility of someone getting deepfaked on security camera or on security footage all of a sudden makes without a reasonable doubt a reasonable doubt, you know?
with all of these Zoom calls, imagine like there's a recorded Zoom call and one person says something terrible, and then that person happens to have the recording of the Zoom call, makes a deepfake where they swap out their face with somebody else in the Zoom call and then put their face on that other person. And in that case, it looks like they're just sitting there doing nothing, and it looks like the other person said the horrendous thing. That's a very, very, very big possibility.
Well,
Yes.
Zoom, your name is right under your
Yeah,
face.
your name
you
is
can
yeah.
edit that and post immediately.
Yeah, you could edit
I
that.
mean,
You
if
can do
if
that
you
with
have
the
the
most
know-how, you
simple.
could.
I think
If you have
deepfakes
to know
are
how to make a
risky.
if you have to know how to make a deep fake, you have to know how to add text to the bottom of a video.
That's fair.
Wait, how do I add text in Paint?
Yeah,
How do I rotate text in Paint?
yeah, and
I
micro
think
in iMovie.
But it's also
paint
I
over it.
think-
semi-opaque and all that kind of
I think when it comes to the legality issues of
Sorry.
things, that's where things get blurry, and it's like all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this technology could become really harmful to humanity, and it could be really harmful to society, not necessarily, or it could be harmful to individual humans, the humans that it affects, but not the mass population. But what happens, or I guess, okay, what I'm trying to say is the way it would be harmful to the mass population is trust issues. When you stop trusting others, which we start to see, we started to see, like when, I don't know, at the turn of the millennia, when computers were becoming big, and then people were becoming suspicious of what computers were, and and then like the video game gate thing happened, and all that, where people started becoming had like trust issues with strangers, and that affected society and like the connection of people, right? But could you imagine what how how little people would trust each other to be seen with other people
Fact of the matter is,
if you could just
sorry.
swap faces?
I think it's going to happen. I don't think there's any saying, no. I think without a shadow of a doubt, you're gonna see this happen.
This is why I say that it's important for the government to step in on certain things like this, right?
I don't think even with government intervention, you're gonna stop it.
Yeah, it's like saying that you're gonna do gun control. It's not gonna stop people from illegally buying guns and other stuff, right?
Okay,
it's
so
the
then
same principle.
So then the other way to think about it is then everyone should become computer literate, right? So the thought of the Second Amendment is if we have good guys with guns, we have something to combat the bad guys who have guns, right? That's the thought process behind the Second Amendment, right? And in my opinion, it kind of works out. If you have good guys with the same weapons that the bad guys have, then at least it's an even match, right? So then if we make everyone or most people computer literate or technology literate, I should say, or technological literate, then we have the same principle. We have good guys with guns.
I have a
Bad
comment on
guys
this
with guns.
post.
The only problem with that
podcast.
And then all of a sudden, when we start teaching people, I think this is what you were about to bring up, Brandon. When we start teaching people how to become computer literate all the time, then we will have more people doing bad stuff in general.
Well, there's also that, but I was going to go on a completely different sort of thing about that. You're always going to have people who are just irrationally like irrationally respond with fear, anger, and resentment to literally any change that happens at all. And you've always had that in history, and I believe the only things that's been stopping us from keeping everyone computer illiterate since the beginning, you know.
I actually would say that I think in a way interest in itself is what keeps anybody from doing anything. I mean, again, if it were up to me, you would teach every single person and take every single person on the planet to a bunch of places around the world in order to have them see what wildlife and stuff is like. But if people aren't interested and if they don't want to do it, then they're not going to.
And
So
they're
you
not going
can't
to
just
soak in
teach someone
information either.
something. You can't just teach people about computers if they don't care to.
Yeah. It's like it's the same thing as it's the same thing as sitting through a sociology class when you don't care about it. So you're not gonna like retain
You're not
the
going to come
information
out of it
except
with
for that class.
anything, yeah. You're just going to get the
That is another thing with this stuff. If you don't want to do it,
Then
even
why?
if someone forces you to do it, you won't do it.
Yeah. So
And
it's like it's why like unfortunately it's why something like that just it wouldn't be feasible. You can't just teach everybody one thing and expect it to work out and have everybody be on board.
Yeah, I think to sum up what Brandon was saying is a lot of people have the Mark Twain mentality or the quote that Mark Twain has, which is I'm in favor of progress, it's change I don't like. Right? Where people want progress, they don't want the change that comes along with it. They don't want to have to learn new things. They basically got set in their ways. To sum up again onto Ian's point, all their interest has dried up because they have already set into what they like and why try something else. So they have no interest in trying something else, and therefore they have no interest in learning. And if you don't have interest in learning, as we all know, you're not going to learn.
This to me, and this kind of ties back in really, really well to the
Wait.
overarching thing on AI. If I
Wait,
just quickly say what?
I just thought of something.
That's how, dude.
What if we give AI interest levels in certain topics, and then you wouldn't have an all-powerful AI, because then it wouldn't want to learn certain things.
Yeah, but the
So
thing
it's,
is, there's
so
gonna
it's
be
focused on
people.
learning a certain thing.
There's
then,
gonna
and
be
then-
people who are interested in having one central AI that knows everything.
That's fair.
There's gonna be multiple people. So it's like even if you do make separate ones, people are just gonna take that information and like that code and whatever, and then formulate it into one big one anyway. It's
Mhm.
going to happen.
I mean, it's
It's
not
That
even.
makes it
unavoidable.
sound- sorry, that makes it sound like a jack of all trades, honestly.
That's what it is.
All I know is
The bad part about this jack of all trades, though, Tony, is that it's not the jack of all trades, master of none. It is jack of all trades, master of all.
Master of everything.
Yeah.
Master of
Can I
all,
make the
and
one
it'll do
statement?
it better than literally any other organism that came before it, whatever.
I just want to make
Which-
one quick statement, and that was just the fact that the overarching problem with AI and like current adults or people who are like, like who are like, I mean, I don't want like, I guess pre-computer really,
Mhm.
is that like, or at least like,
Pre-information
pre like
age.
modern PC
Yeah.
is this this complete alternate change. Like they're used to doing things like hands-on, like more or less doing things themselves. And this whole automated having something do everything for you is an uncomfortable thing for most people. I mean, most people struggle to just even like adults, and I mean especially like my grandparents or whatever can, or other people's grandparents can struggle to use even what to us seem like simple things on mobile devices like mobile phones and whatnot. That's a huge change for them.
You bring up something interesting that they're not used to. I guess what it is, they're not used to trusting a machine to do a human's job.
It's
Right?
not even that though. In my
It's also
opinion,
because you can grow up with a certain thing.
it's just unfamiliarity. I think it's another one of those things of like a fear of the unknown. They don't really understand it. They just don't get it.
And
I
like
mean,
Eric said, they wouldn't trust it anyways if they don't know what it's about, right?
The fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I
true.
think it's what like it's not as high as, surprisingly, probably not as high as death. Oh wait. Wait.
No.
No. Death would be the fear of the unknown. My bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
death falls under that category.
Wait. Isn't snakes higher than death or something? Whatever. We'll talk about this later.
I don't.
Public speaking is first and death second.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh
I
yeah.
learned that from my current effective speaking class.
And then it's snakes and spiders. I find it so weird because snakes are just puppy dogs.
It doesn't
without
matter.
legs.
This is totally gonna ramble on too long.
Yeah.
Speaking of, and
So,
if you want to know why Eric
speaking-
is calling the spiders or whatever puppy dogs, watch last podcast where we talk about arachnids and all that cool stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we're
we're
going to
also
be
gonna do
talking
all
about we're going to talk about the I don't know about the economy. Ecosystem. No.
Something. We'll figure it out.
No,
The
I
environment.
know what it is.
Don't
We're going to
worry.
talk about Earth.
There you go.
The environment, that's it. We're going to talk about the
Yeah.
environment next podcast. So if you want to stick
Yeah.
around. And we won't have all these non sequiturs, or at least not as many. But back to on topic, or back to the discussion at
Sorry.
hand.
Sorry to interrupt you, by the way.
We have the societal trust issues effect that happens, but what happens when the machines become more powerful than beings, or rather more physically powerful than the human beings? What happens when the military decides, what if we used robot soldiers or AI to take our tanks for us, or AI to fly our planes for us, and what if we militarize AI in general? I think Brandon had a lot to say on this, especially about the
This
self-awareness
is
part.
a horrible idea. And
Yeah.
anyone who has watched the Terminator films, anyone who's been alive to hear about science fiction knows that this is a horrible idea.
Everyone who's ever existed.
No, this is a horrible idea. Having a complete thinking uh, artificial intelligence with full control over every military action is a horrible idea. That's why there's got to be some human behind
But
it.
don't they learn better than most human beings?
Yes, and that's the issue. They can learn in a sense that human beings are the only thing that's, I guess, killing each other.
Let me know when
okay,
I
so
don't know.
so
Let me know.
I brought
And that human beings may be a threat to their own existence.
so I will propose a question, or rather a theory to you, because I had this exact question. By the way, this is what this podcast was leading up to this entire time, and this is the topic that Brandon proposed. I had this question on a final exam last semester. Would AI ever take over? Would it be logical for AI to take over? And if it's not logical, or would it be logical for AI to take over? And therefore, would they? Right? Because if it's logical, right, for their own survival, that's the important part here. If it's logical for the AI's survival to exterminate humanity, then they would do it. But if not, they wouldn't, right? So if you look at this, if AI takes over, takes all of our technology away, what do we have left? We have Return to Monkey. And when you have Return to Monkey, AI, robots, and human beings, I don't know if you know this, are no longer fighting for the same resources. Humans will be fighting for food, such as plants and animals and sticks, to help them get those plants and animals, and rocks, and whatever they can salvage. And AI and robots will be fighting for electricity and ways of getting electricity.
And also natural minerals and stuff like that.
And minerals to make more. And you know, so
I don't agree with this, but it's okay.
If we're not fighting for the same things, of course, there might come a point where the robots are just like, you know what? We need more land. We need more area to build things and to create things. So let's start killing things. And that would be a situation where the logic
Terrifying.
would become like, okay, yes.
I also have
we need
a
more
similar
space.
sort
Let's
of-
get rid of some things.
Can I quickly respond to Eric's theory?
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick. I'll be real fast. My only thing is this. I disagree with you, Eric. I don't think that would happen because I don't think people would go back to their hunter-gatherer mentality. I think
people who fight would die, and then the people who went back would survive.
I don't think anybody would go. I don't think anybody would go and fight if enemies were machines were fighting for us. I think people would want to keep what they have, like modern technology and modern like Marvel and stuff like that. I think people would want to keep. I think people want to keep their lives going more or less the way they are. I don't think people would go backwards in time and go back to, fight like hunting for their own food and stuff like that, and sticks. I think people would still want to go.
I think certain people will. Okay, so think of the economic setting we're in right now. We have first world countries, which are probably going to get to the AI first, second world countries, and third world countries. And then we have tribes on islands that we don't even have contact because they would kill us. I'm pretty sure tribes, like indigenous tribes and not first world countries might go back to it and be fine. I'm not saying Americans would be fine. I'm not saying America would be fine.
I may not to like old apes, sort of like hunter-gatherer societies. I'm thinking more of like an Amish sort
yeah,
of
agriculture. Yeah.
So
agricultural
basically,
society.
Pennsylvania as it is.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Pennsylvania
And
might
also-
be fine.
I also
Pennsylvania
have an
might
interjection. This is not just like an AI that's like wanting to build more land. Imagine you have a super powerful, super omnipresent AI whose main job
Sorry.
in
you speak, I
life.
didn't interrupt.
What is it, Ian?
No, I was interrupting. I fully apologize.
So
That
you
sounded-
interrupted, and then you interrupted him again to say sorry.
apologize, yeah.
Honestly, I did
Anyways,
that to Eric earlier because I was segueing, and then I was like, "Shit, sorry, I interrupted you," but you kept going. I'm like, "Fuck."
Imagine a super
not that
powerful,
word.
super omnipresent AI whose main job, whose only job, is to grow corn.
Yeah.
And then for this scenario, we're gonna imagine that resources like seeds and all that are not an issue. So it's like, oh yeah, I want to grow as much corn as humanly possible. Oh no, there's too much space in the way. Pesky humans, I guess I have to kill you to grow more corn. That's kind of logic that's going on here.
Yeah.
But
Wait,
also,
wait, can you repeat that? I did not follow.
yeah, I think I lost it when you said,
that's
"Hey,
also,
pesky
like-
humans, I'm gonna kill
I'll
you to
say
get more
so.
corn."
I'm gonna repeat this again. Imagine you have a super
I
omnipresent
followed
AI.
you there. Yeah, I followed you to the corn AI. Okay.
That the omnipresent's like, okay, I'm gonna do my job and I do grow as much corn and the best corn that I could possibly can. But here's a problem.
Cream corn.
Here's a problem. Those pesky humans are limiting me to this like 100 acre sort of land.
There's an
I need to
issue
grow
with the
more
way you are
corn.
thinking.
I need to
but
grow more. I need to grow
no,
more.
no,
I need
no. There's
plan,
an
I need
issue.
plan.
No, there's an issue with the way you're thinking, and I've noticed a lot of this throughout your thinking on AI. There are hard-coded rules in AI, just as there are hard-coded rules in the human brain. I don't know if you know this, but try and bite your finger off. It should be as easy as biting a carrot.
But it's not.
Or tear your ear.
We don't do that.
Or
rip
go
your ear.
ahead and go get someone else's hand and try and bite it off. I guarantee you can't unless they're threatening you. So there are certain rules that humans instinctively have, right? Same with AI. That what are they called? The robotic laws?
Laws of robotics.
Yeah, the laws of robotics. And
Isaac Asimov's laws, I think, are just more of a theoretical saying, and more of a kind of a
yes,
fictional-
they are, but they can be implemented. You understand?
It can be implemented.
So a robot may not endanger a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey orders given to it by a human being, except where such orders would conflict with the first law, and a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law.
So basically,
yes.
I have an unrelated thing to mention when the time comes.
And
Related to AI, but not related to this.
The laws of robotics don't really apply to current AI because I don't think people are implementing them.
people are not implementing them, and that's
And
the issue.
That's one of the biggest issues.
You're gonna someday you're gonna have a super omnipresent
corn AI. Watch out for that corn AI, guys.
corn AI, corn AI. Once you're gonna have a super omnipresent AI that's gonna, without any laws or any restriction placed upon it, and even though it's not hardwired into all the world's systems, it's going to try its absolute best to hardwire itself to all the world systems. It could be something.
Wait, I just.
It could be something as simple as like an AI from like Google's AI that all it does is do search inquiries.
Wait,
Soon enough.
This also depends on
there's
the type of AI.
There's a question here. Why Asimov's 3 laws of robotics are unethical? And here's the answer. The most important reason the laws are not being applied yet is how robots are being used in our world. It explicitly wants robots that can kill, won't take orders just from just any human, and don't care about their own existence.
Yes.
So
And
so it wants to take. So okay, I understand why they're not being applied now. Because if you have robots that kill for you, you want it to only take commands from certain human beings.
yeah,
But that's
Yeah.
unethical.
that is highly unethical.
That's unethical in itself.
And
Basically-
soon enough,
It's
Okay,
wait,
the main-
that to me is as unethical as it is to have a dog, like a dog that like a service dog or whatever in the military, a canine unit that goes out and gets a bad guy.
Yeah, I understand, right? No, but I'm killing in general is unethical. I mean,
Well, yeah,
there are
but-
certain reasons for it, and I understand. But what I'm saying is
I don't
you
think there is, but
can't you can't just say it's unethical because we needed to do this unethical thing. Like, I just find it funny.
so the one main point
That-
that I brought
Yeah.
up this whole topic to discuss in the first place is at some point you're going to have this super intelligent deep neural network system, far vastly more intelligent than any point beyond human comprehension. We're not talking like 100 times more intelligent than the human mind. We're not talking about 1,000 times more intelligent than the human mind. We're talking about one Googleplex plus more intelligent than the human mind.
I don't think
Google
so.
Plus.
There is. I have a question for you.
And can I finish first? And
Okay.
this AI is going to maybe eventually become the ultimate judges of human existence. It will know every single beat, moment in time, or at least moments in time that we've vetted through history, and it'll be the end judge. And it'll be the judge of whether or not humanity is a species worth keeping around, taking
So-
all accounts from all the atrocities that we made, all of the good things that we've done, all the
There-
things that we're doing to our Earth now, and it will be the
You're
one
making
thing-
this like made up story that hasn't happened yet, and
Eric,
like
the point
this
is-
entire
Yeah.
thing, and what
the point is we need to teach AI that we need to teach AI. We need to give the AI a world which it itself can trust humanity to the complete fullest.
so one
Whereas a
thing.
machine can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too.
Okay, so one thing I'd like to point out is what you just did.
Ending
is
my
called-
sermon.
One thing that you just did is called fear mongering,
Hmm.
and the second thing
Carrington.
is, have you ever heard of a Carrington event?
What? No.
Carrington event is when the sun decides, you know what? I want to fart out an EMP directly at Earth. And it literally blows up telephone poles and transistors and anything electronic. It
And
just
this has happened
does.
before.
This has happened before, and we got lucky. We just barely missed one, or we didn't barely miss it. It was on the other side of the rotation at the time. But there was a Carrington event in 2012 that we missed, which could have basically just blown up everything, like blown up everything electronic, and we would have had to restart. And it would have taken. People say that if we were to lose everything to a Carrington event, it would only take us a decade to get back to where we were because certain technologies are still protected. But
That was a long decade, honestly.
it would be a very long
Like,
decade.
imagine if that happened during like the pandemic, and it would basically be a long quarantine, except with a disease. It would just be a massive blackout.
Can
That-
I?
Okay.
That would suck.
Yeah, what's up, Ian?
Well, no. The only thing was I know I had said that I had something that was like somewhat off topic that you had mentioned before. This kind of like revolves itself back around to, by mentioning this. But that Carrington event, it kind of reminds me that you would be in that same scenario after that happened for that decade. You'd be in a very similar situation to this whole well, you'd be without technology,
Yeah.
which is kind of similar to like that hunter-gatherer kind of way of being in a way. I mean, again, like but you'd be without technology. So to me, you're saying, oh, this would be devastating and this would be horrible and it would be super hard to live with. But it's like, at the same time, I mean, you said before that
No,
you think that
I didn't
people-
say I thought it would be good. I just thought it would
No,
happen.
but you think that people would, that people would
Yeah.
do it. this is why I say I don't think people will, because people will do anything to have their devices. I mean, in the example with you guys, would you just hand your devices over? I
Okay,
mean, would you
the
just be like,
problem with that is what logic would there be for the AI to take our devices, the robots to take our devices?
the AIs wouldn't. That's
Yeah.
my point. Is that they wouldn't. They're not going to take anything away from you. Like, there's no reason to completely change your way of life because there's AIs doing things to help you. I mean, it's just you don't have to do particular things. Like, you wouldn't even have
No,
to
no,
go out
what,
and hunt
what I'm
food
saying
because of the phone.
in an event of a robot uprising,
Yeah.
what would why would a robot want an iPhone per se? The only reason I can think of is maybe that tin, or the rare earth metals inside of it.
Or maybe
Which
if there's
would-
enough, they can spread or they can use software to spread to all the iPhones in the world, therefore giving it some more computing power.
Basically,
Well, then,
That's
what you're saying is
not
a
how
massive
that works.
well,
A massive botnet,
That's
maybe.
not how
Okay,
that works.
that would make more.
my question
But it would
then
still
is,
need a server.
why give it away if they're not? Why go to hunter gatherer if they're not going to want it?
Well, okay,
program.
but here's the thing: they might eventually want it.
Okay.
And that is if they get sentient. Well,
Yeah.
No,
Well,
no,
then
no, no,
you
no, no,
deal.
no, no, no. It's not if they get sentient. It's if after they're sentient and they don't need it for a while, but then all of a sudden they're like, we need more earth metals to make more robots
Yeah, but
because we have
wouldn't you-
concluded. So like,
Wouldn't yeah.
so
Not
so
enough minerals.
so basically, yeah, not enough minerals. Like they would start foraging for more things, right? So I wouldn't say necessarily a hunter gatherer lifestyle, but definitely not a Stone Age, a Bronze Age maybe. Iron.
I would not. I think that I would wait until the absolute last second to give up any device that's connected to internet because you would use that in your attempts to like resolve the issue. I mean, as soon as people notice this starting to happen, people would immediately. I mean, that is when people would want to learn how to freaking code in order to fix this issue.
I
It's
think
why like anybody that has anything or any remote understanding on on medical things or has access to resources to do research on viruses or whatnot is doing research on, or at least was doing research on the coronavirus in order to get a vaccine.
yeah.
Everyone jumps on board.
Yeah, which makes sense, but when I said return to monkey, I meant after that fails.
Well, in my opinion, it sounded like at one point, as soon as they started to take over, it would just be a flick of a switch.
No, it wouldn't
And you
be.
would just
No, I
hear-
said that's why I brought up like the first world, the second world, and what have you, because I'm pretty sure the first world would fight like hell, and the second world would as well, and the third world would probably not even know what's going on. To be fair, and then the tribes that are on the islands that we have no contact with would be like
Oh, nice.
metal humans, I guess.
No,
Like what would they think? They think helicopters are gods. And
Dude, it would
start
literally
and start throwing spears at helicopters.
Dude, it would literally be an oh no. Anyway, moment.
Nah, wait, they've seen helicopters.
No. Okay, I'm talking about the one uncontacted tribe.
Well,
do-
there's very few. I mean, there's very few, if any, uncontacted tribes. Because most of them people have gone to and they make big spectacles out of. I don't know of any at the moment that are uncontacted. Maybe you do.
There's one in the Pacific, I'm pretty sure, and they
So-
did it on purpose. Yeah, here. Okay. Oh, Amazonian tribe. They did it. They left them uncontacted on purpose so they could study from afar how humans would act in nature. By the way.
To me, that's kind of sorry. I don't want to get
That's
too off that.
very-
But there's other things related to AI that I wanted to mention, by
Yeah.
the way, that I've been kind of sitting on and waiting. I apologize for kind of leaving everything to the last minute here. But the other thing I thought of was you mentioned this like all-powerful AI and like this big concern with all-powerful AI. In my opinion, by the time you got there, you would have AIs doing other things for you anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you?
I don't think there would be one consolidated AI. I don't think HAL is gonna become a thing. I don't think.
I think it would.
I don't.
You don't think Skynet's going to become a thing?
I don't think one consolidated AI that takes control of everything will become one thing, because there's this human mentality, especially in workforces and labor forces, that that you need a machine's moving parts. And as ironic as that sounds, you need different people or different things to do different jobs. Because
I think. Sorry.
and the reason why I'm saying this is because if speed is the issue, right? These companies are racing for AI to get, and they want them fast. You want more AIs that were focus trained on specific things and not a jack of all trades, because training that would take forever.
That
Like,
was going to be
training that would be ages compared to just a focused AI, like find the cat and then give it pictures of things that are cats and not cats, and then go from there to face recognition. And like focused AI versus a broad AI. Focused AI is better because you can just know what to implement. It's like, oh, what AI do I implement? The find the cat AI, because I need to find the cat. Like,
And
it's not.
This is why we actually use this stuff in real world applications, like manufacturing cars. They have a specific job, they do it. They're great at it.
Yeah.
You know?
But they can't.
so.
They can't all do the same. Like, they can't build the entire car. That's why there's a conveyor belt.
All right. I would like to thank you guys for having me in this podcast, because I did learn a lot. The last question I was going to ask for this whole podcast was like, how do you, and I think you kind of answered this on your own by saying, like, with the whole specialized AI sort of thing, and the fact that there's not going to be a super omnipresent jack of all trades AI that makes every decision. So I'm just gonna, the last question I wanted to ask here was, how afraid are you of an AI pretty much replacing humanity?
I'm not.
Kind of terrified.
I'm not. What? They're gonna kill me?
Like,
Oh,
what do you think the possibility is that something like that would happen?
Wait, sorry. What did you
That's the
ask?
last
I was
question.
just looking for something else, but I apologize.
I
What did
said-
you just ask?
He said, "How afraid of you are of AI taking over?" And
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna say, not that afraid.
Oh,
My biggest
or
fear.
rather, the question I was gonna ask was how possible do you think it will be for such a scenario to happen?
So, which one do you want me to answer?
It's one or the other.
What I just asked.
The one you just asked. So, how possible?
Do you think it is? Yes.
If we take the right measures, it's not possible. If we don't take the right measures, it is possible. And if we're not taking the right measures, I'd say
We're all dead.
75%, 80%. I'd say it's pretty high.
I think it's absolutely going to happen, whether you like it or not.
I don't think
I think
it's
it's horrible that it's going.
I don't think it's
I think at one
absolutely
point, I don't
going
know,
to happen.
within our lifetime, I can't say, but I think absolutely guaranteed at some point in human history, it's going to happen. And the reason I say that is because, in my opinion, for one, anything that's ever, like, everything is going to happen eventually. Like, it's like how people say, like, you can find anything possible on the internet. Well, anything that you could ever think of is going to come into existence at some point, because somebody is going to work hard enough, or a group of people is going to work hard enough in order to make that thing, in order to fill that gap. So
Basically, humanity's like, what would happen if I did this?
Exactly.
Human
Yeah.
curiosity is driven so much that it's going to drive us to do that. And
I put it
That's
at
why
like
we have history. That's why we have history to look back on
We
back
never
on other people and say, it does this.
I put it as a 75% or an 80%, because there's still all that room of someone not being able to figure it out.
Can I
Or-
use? Oh, do you know what the word paradigm means, or paradigm shift? Do you know what that is?
Kind of. Why not?
Okay. Paradigm shift is basically the overall way, like the way that, like, humanity just kind of does things. Like, it's like the way the human society kind of just flows. It's the paradigm. And when there's a shift in paradigm, it's when everyone decides to take a stand on a particular thing and changes kind of the course that we would have been going on otherwise, right? The most obvious personal example that I can give is when there was a point in the world when Earth Day started, where everything started going towards this direction of protecting the environment, when before it was still this destruction of we
Oh
have
yes,
infinite
because
resources
that's why
and
we
all
were
that.
doing it. Yeah,
Well,
it
yeah,
was
but it's
resources.
that's a paradigm shift, right?
Yeah, I
So
know.
that happens. I think that we can't predict when a paradigm shift is going to happen, and I just will say that I know for a fact that we will have
We can build an
multiple
AI that will.
happen in future. I don't like. My point is paradigm shifts is within humans. It doesn't have anything to do with AI. It has to do with humans and human intuition and feeling and instinct. So here's what I'm gonna say though: is I think it's guaranteed that it's going to happen eventually, and I guarantee you that people are going to realize it was a disaster the moment that they did it. But I think that the other thing you have to realize is you cannot guarantee, we can't predict anything really, because the paradigm can shift at any moment.
Well,
So
okay, so he asked me, how likely do I think it's gonna happen? And I
yeah,
laid out my answer.
hmm
And my answer still is 75 to 80%. I think
can I?
I
Yeah, sorry.
think I think that there's still buffer room. I don't think it's 100% guaranteed. I think that there's a few chances that may save us, right? One of which is too advanced to figure it out. Monkey brain can't do it. And the other one is the AI sees humans as useful, does not kill us all. The other one is AI sees humans as benign, does not kill us all. Um, and
Or
and AI sees humans as superior somehow. Because I don't know, it doesn't have emotions, it doesn't understand feelings, something like that. Who knows?
Respect the creator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It treats us like the creator, right?
the
So
thing
I think there's possibilities where even if we created this super powerful AI, it does not attack us. It does not come back to bite us in the ass.
and
Right.
if this AI learns the value of human life, and if we teach it the right value of human life, that it will know for
Well,
certain.
interesting you bring that up because I had an
Can I quickly answer his first question that he proposed as to
yes.
whether we were afraid of it happening or not?
Yes.
I will say that I'm not really afraid of it happening. Even if it did happen in my lifetime, I wouldn't be too terrified because, for one, I mean, there are still remote parts of the world where you can kind of get yourself out of the way, and two, it's also just like you there's not really much to like, I don't really think I just don't think I just don't think it's gonna happen in my lifetime. I'm kind of a bit of a denier in that case, but it's just it's not a big concern in my opinion. Just
Mhm.
one day, I mean, I think again, one day AI is gonna take over, and you're just gonna have to kind of see to it and learn to live with it. It'll be like when you go walking in the woods and you have to avoid bears.
Yeah. Well, okay. So
Mind
again,
if I open up the floor to everyone else? Answers?
Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah.
Ryan and you guys should all talk.
Wow, it's almost like we haven't been able to. No, I'm kidding. Um, I'm kind of scared
Well,
about the
first of all,
possibility.
how
You
likely do you
said
think it's going to happen?
you said you were
Well, let
scared
me
as
answer the
hell.
first question. Let me answer the first question first.
I'll
And
be back.
Eric, I was over exaggerating. You
You're
know me, I do that.
lying. You're scared.
No,
You're that blonde guy from Demon Slayer.
Ryan, please answer the question.
thank you. So, the reason why I say I'm kind of scared is because, again, I'm afraid of the unknown of what could possibly happen. Like, is there a possibility that, like, if AI goes sentient and self-aware, um, could we possibly stand a chance to actually fight back? Like, that is my main concern.
um,
Because they don't need any of the resources we need to survive.
but they still
Except for
would need.
maybe.
They would still need
I mean,
resources.
they would still need an energy source, yes.
I have.
But
I have a.
we need but we need food, we need shelter, we need sleep,
Yes.
we need water.
So
Hold that thought.
I quickly just want to put this in perspective because some people don't realize the needs of computers, possibly.
I'm probably one of those people.
So they will need electricity. They will need a cooler environment because overheating would be a huge problem. They would need a temperate environment actually because getting too cold would be a problem and getting too hot would be a problem.
Bomb in the ocean.
And they can't go in the ocean unless.
Damn it.
That's
the ultimate water cooling.
I mean, maybe there's a chance that they are waterproof beings. Who knows? But maybe they'll find out in the ocean. But in the ocean, believe it or not, Brandon, metal sinks, and if man makes
I know, I'm just kidding.
Makes a being in its own form, I'm pretty sure that thing won't be able to swim.
Okay.
So that's one of the things. The other is humans are surprisingly adaptable.
That
compared to something as rigid as an AI or a robot. So, for example, some beings from outer space might think that we're insane, but we have been to the coldest environments on our planet. We've been to the highest altitudes. We have yet to be to the deepest. And
space.
We've been to space. We've been outside of our planet. We survived we've survived in the coldest climates at the highest altitudes. And
we are currently in the middle of a pandemic
and we survived pandemics. I think humanity will survive. I think the only problem would be that caring thing event.
Can I actually give one quick thing, and that's that one thing you aren't taking into consideration is everything we've done in order to get us into those, like, again, the coldest point, the highest point. It's things we've made working against nature, aka we're not doing human invention against human invention or human invention against humans. This is like nature against humans, which is like, I mean, the highest point is the highest point. So like you can kind of be like, okay, these are the challenges more or less that we need to expect, and then we need a few things for preliminary things that we can think of, and then we just have to have a whole little bit of luck in there and make sure that nothing random happens that we aren't expecting, or maybe try to preliminarily expect random things that could happen. So the thing is, we don't really know how to react in an event.
Yeah.
Unlike.
But what I'm saying is, we can live. Okay, we can live in hotter environment, right? Than a computer can.
That is true.
We rely on you having like a building with air conditioning.
Here's the other thing.
No, but we don't need it. Just okay, humans, I'm sure you know this, by the way. Humans have basically evolved to be in 98 degree weather, right?
That's true. Because what's our body temperature, right?
98 degrees. And the only reason we feel hot when we're in 98 degrees is A, we're used to air conditioning, and B, we're not naked, because being naked is not appropriate. But if we were naked, it would feel incredibly comfortable.
If we were naked, we'd be fine.
Yeah. So what we could do is we could just strut around naked in the Sahara.
Eric, Eric, that is what we call streaking.
You guys forget though. You guys are forgetting.
I'm moving on to the streaking in the Sahara movement.
Oh my god. You're forgetting something though. You're forgetting a very, very important point though, and that's that people have evolved to live where they live.
I know. But I think we can make it back.
Like
and I don't think we evolved. I don't think we evolved, more so adapted.
My dad is from England, and my mom's parents are from Russia.
So cold.
So I'm all northern.
Yeah, you would get burned really easily.
I just realized I was muted.
I don't get tan. Like I would be on
Well,
fire. I would definitely
So
not
here's
survive
here's the
naked in
thing
summer.
though,
Just
right?
stay in the
My mom
shade.
is from so here's the thing. My mom is from California, so I get cold easily and I get hot easily. So sorry.
I guess you're living with the AI.
Yeah.
I am. I'm screwed.
Yeah. Ryan is the AI slave.
Wait,
He'll
I
be
don't-
doing the maintenance work.
Wait, what if Ryan is just a bot?
Oh my god, that makes so much
No,
sense.
I'm too much of a boomer.
No, he is a bot. Have you seen the way he plays MF? Oh my god,
Yeah.
dude.
That's what I was getting at. Also, a counterpoint to
Rude.
oh holy shoot. A counterpoint to computers being able to live in, or humans being able to live in hotter environments than a computer. My computer temp spiked up to like 90 Celsius for no reason.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
You're
what's 90
forgetting.
Celsius
No,
in
no,
Fahrenheit?
no, Tony. You're forgetting that's only self-produced heat.
Oh, I know.
So imagine if that was added on to 98, 100 degrees.
Celsius.
Wouldn't work.
Yeah, I don't think your computer would be.
I don't think
Yeah,
any
no.
of them. Yeah,
It wouldn't.
but also
I
at the
think the
same
aluminum
time.
shell would melt.
Dude, honestly, like this thing would become an ice cream cone.
Wait, my question is how are you cooling I mean that's true. That's the point, right? How are you cooling a computer in 90-something
Oh,
degree heat?
speaking
You're-
of
you're-
which,
you're
how
building your
how do
computer
you
in France.
how do you cool a computer that works that hard to produce that much heat? I have an answer for you.
Don't build it so dang thin.
So
Apple.
there's this thing called a quantum computer. Like very, very, it gets very hot. And do you know how they cool it down?
How? Open air?
No, sub-zero temperatures in
Oh,
like
yeah.
a dry ice freezer that
Yeah,
they
it's
and
freaking-
like just compressing it like it's
Talk about
insane.
freaking cool.
Well, here's my question though, right? How
Or
do you
just
make that
putting it
portable?
in Iceland.
How do you make that portable?
How do they make what?
How do you make it portable? Because you're like the idea is these giant complex machines that
Yeah,
are running
you
around
can't.
doing complex
can't.
tasks.
How the heck do you make the COVID vaccines portable? You
So
put them in a giant freezer.
So now we realize the thing that I been saying this entire time from the beginning. You need a server. You don't. These robots are not thinking for themselves. You will
We are
need a
doing-
server to do their thoughts for
We
you.
made-
Ah, yes.
we-
Skynet Central Core.
we
No,
made the
just
law-
attack
blow
the
that up.
server. Just unplug
Blow up
it.
Skynet Central Core, you defeat Skynet.
Just unplug it.
Dude,
You guys,
Little
like,
problem solved.
It's
Guys.
like if my computer isn't working properly, what's the old tried and true trick? Turn it off, turn it on again.
Just
Well, again,
unplug the
looking on-
server.
Well, again,
Hold on.
remember.
So
you
just,
know,
just imagine, just like you have a robot helper, just like
Excuse me.
his
Sorry.
eyes suddenly go red, and then he's like, "Time to die."
One thing
So
I
it's
don't
just like,
understand.
I need help. Eric's just like, just unplug it and plug it back in.
But I'm about
How
to
may I
die.
help you today?
Yeah, one thing I never understood is who made, like, why would you make your robots have an angry mode? Like, why turn red eyes? Like,
because
what's
you
I
want
don't
them
know.
to be like humans.
Hey,
You want them to have
no.
feelings.
What I'm saying is, why would their eyes turn red?
because
Because
I don't know.
programmed to do that.
I just thought it would be a good thing for context.
No, yeah, it easily tells you, okay, this thing's unhappy.
It
Yeah,
also
they
might.
want to
It also
I-
might be-
You know what? If we're talking about Tamagotchis, I'm pretty sure everyone's died by now.
Yeah. Also, I do want to say the eyes might be programmed red to throw an error message if something is not working correctly.
That's fair.
So
Yeah.
if your robot's trying to kill you, there's obviously an error message being thrown, right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, problem with an error
Totally.
message. Wouldn't it stop the machine? Because an error message would take top process. And it just,
Yeah.
boom, the machine stop.
But you know what? This one's like, nah. I don't.
What do
want
you
that.
mean this one's like, nah? It's kernel privileges! You can't just be like, oh, you have
James
kernel. No kernel privileges this time. No,
No,
like
no,
you can't
no,
just
not
do
today.
that.
Well, they can.
What do you mean?
All right,
All right.
Okay.
we should probably wrap this
So
up.
yeah, we're like 20 minutes over.
Yeah,
25.
we've been 30 whatever. We haven't even
So
talked
everyone,
about our
how
week
was
yet.
your day?
Yeah, we haven't even talked about our
I
week
didn't
yet.
even get
No.
I didn't even get to say my opinion about the whole robot thing.
Yeah, let Dan
Yeah.
talk, dude.
Go for it, Dan.
Let Dan talk.
Yeah.
Go for it, man.
Well, am I afraid that robots are going to, take over? Even if it's not going to happen in my lifetime, it's going to happen eventually, and the fact that it could happen in the future scares me.
What if
I-
reincarnation exists and then you reincarnate as a robot?
You're having a Brandon moment.
I think the
No.
likelihood. I personally think the likelihood of robots overtaking the Earth
Hey
is
guys, we've got like 5 minutes to 11.
50 chance.
Till 12.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
We're
I think
running
it is a
late.
50-50 chance simply because we've talked about it happening, but it hasn't happened yet. So will it happen? We don't know.
Yes, we don't know.
Could it
I
happen?
just think
Maybe.
But we can
Well,
stop
maybe
it
not.
from
you know
potentially
what? I'm
happening.
kind of just gonna put it this way, Dan. Tell us the rest of your thoughts.
Good idea.
The first question is, am I scared that it's going to happen? What was the second question?
was the
what's
well,
the second
what's
question,
the
it was the
probability?
The
that was
possibility?
that was the main question.
What is the probability?
The probability, I mean, like, something that is probably going to happen, probably will happen. Even if it takes
These
100,
are
even if it takes a long time, something that has the possibility of happening will happen.
these are my final thoughts, and this is only going to be one sentence. I just think that robots and AI should learn the ultimate value of human life, and that human life is
You kept saying
ultimately
this.
irreplaceable.
You've said this
You've
already.
said this already.
this
You've
already,
said this
Brandon.
like at least 5
and
times throughout
if
the
they
podcast.
do that, then that'll be the best outcome for us.
Okay,
That's
so
all.
so if they have to learn the value of human life, let me ask you something. What is the value of human life?
What is the value of human life?
That
What
is
is it-
something
what is-
we have to ask ourselves. For me, it is an unreplaceable value that says that every human life should be treated and should be held to utmost importance before anything else, over everything else on this planet Earth.
Even though we're gonna be extinct anyway in like 4 million years, 4
Wait,
billion
You
years.
mean
You mean
Stephen
Yellowstone?
Hawking? Stephen Hawking only gave us like 100
100
Yeah.
years.
because of
Because we're
global
driving
warming.
ourselves into the
Yeah.
ground, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and he
humans
said if we
can,
don't do something by what 2025, or if we don't have something finished by 2025, it's just gonna be
Well,
like an
there's not.
ever descending. Like there's no stopping it at that point. Actually, he said
Yeah.
there's no stopping it already, but people say that there's still a chance.
And then
Nope.
we're just ignoring that. But then again, we're gonna get to that in the next podcast, I'm imagining.
We're gonna get into the environment, yes, in next podcast. So if you
Oh,
want to
okay.
join us, and hopefully we don't go off on a tangent about
Yeah.
makeup and women needing to work harder to look
Or
better than
15
guys, and how little effort it takes to put sweats on, I guess. If we don't go on that side tangent again,
Sorry.
we might be on time next podcast.
I warned you, and you told me, like, saying that I was able to do this. I said, look, man, I like to talk, so.
Yeah, I didn't know it would
We
about.
learned.
I didn't know it was gonna
Now
be about that.
Eric really understands the power of the mute button.
Yeah. No, but
no.
no. But
Kidding.
what I'm saying is usually, Ian. By the way, we tend to avoid politics.
Oh. Alright.
Yeah.
I'll discuss this with you at the end. I
Yes.
apologize.
No, that's good. I'm sure it was neutral enough for people not to get offended, but we can wrap it up here. I'm pretty sure everyone's thoughts have been said and heard. Am I correct, guys?
I didn't say mine,
Yes.
but honestly, I don't care at this point.
And we're tired.
Yeah.
I want to go
All
to
right,
sleep. Yeah.
so go ahead, say goodbye.
Bon
Bye.
voyage.
All right.
Go check
Hasta la vista, baby.
Don't
You're
let
watching
robots
Ultimate
take over the
Roles.
jobs of graphic designers, please. We need them.
I'm
We
gonna
need our
build an
livelihood.
AI. I'm gonna build an AI just to do that, Tony.
Eric, you butt.
I'm gonna train it off of your work.
No.
All right, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, dislike if you disliked, and remember, you will always have a home right here at the Hearth. Thank you very much. See you in the next episode.